There is a difference between being serious and being sincere. In frivolity, there is a lightness which can rise. But in seriousness, there is a gravity that falls, like a stone. And thus the angels fly, because they take themselves lightly.
Everything in this world is gloriously meaningless. That's what's happening. We're all taught by our mothers and fathers to put a value on it. When it goes a certain way, the rhythm of life goes in a certain way. When we say, ooh, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, because that may be the end. What will the end be? Spunk. What's wrong with that? Things that start have to stop. Things that go on have to go off, and things that go off have to go on. But you see, we get involved by putting a value on it all. Right, now I could say that's bad, you shouldn't do it, but at the same time, getting involved and putting values on it's all part of the game too. Getting hung up, getting hooked. So you don't get unhooked by saying to yourself, I shouldn't be attached. I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. All you do is you see that getting hooked on it is simply another form of it. More nonsense, more jazz, but deeper jazz. When you see a fern, it has, first of all, the main branch. Then it has sub-branches. And out of these sub-branches come sub-sub-branches. And out of the sub-sub-branches come sub-sub-sub-branches. And so you get a fern. So now you could number each of these levels on which things are happening. You say, well, this is a number 1 level, or this is a number 42 level, this is a number 65 level. And you judge events and say it's good, it's bad, it's proper, it's improper. But what you don't recognize is that you say something is improper because you thought it was a 63 level, whereas really it was 112, and you didn't know. You didn't realize the level the thing was on. So actually, the whole play of human life, with all its joys and sorrows, its tragedies, its evils, its good, is just something like a fern. Tumors on it, that means just simply another clan is making its life there. The clan of bugs of some kind are living there too. They're doing their stuff. They're living off the fern's living off something else. We're all leaning on each other in one way or another. Now I saw this whole thing as this fantastic play.
You know that marvelous character, Hote, who is the fat Buddha. He's not exactly, he shouldn't be called the fat Buddha. He's really a Zen tramp, this terrific belly. And he carries around a big bag, and that bag is full of trash. It's all odds and ends which nobody else thought were important. But Hote is like a child, and he has no prejudice about things, and anything might be important. And so he picks up old rags, bottles, bottle tops, discarded notebooks, all kinds of fascinating things. Don't you remember as a child how fascinating they were? And he puts them in this bag and he gives them away to children. And he is regarded with great respect in Zen, but he's not taken seriously. Now, what do I mean? There is a difference between being serious and being sincere. In frivolity, there is a lightness which can rise, but in seriousness there is a gravity that falls, like a stone. And thus the angels fly, because they take themselves lightly. So this is true of the Zen people. They take themselves lightly. They say, for example, of the teachings of Buddha, all the troubles in this world started when old Golden Face stuck out his 3 inches of iron. That means his tongue. Old Golden Face is Buddha. And of course, when you see Buddhist images of Buddha, they're gold, so old Golden Face. And if he has a tongue, it's an iron tongue. As if to say, Buddhism, the doctrine, this method, isn't serious. As a matter of fact, it's why do the troubles begin when the teaching begins? Why? For the simple reason that when you attempt to get yourself out of the difficulties caused by your own ego, you're on the wrong track. As we say, anyone who goes to a psychiatrist ought to have his head examined. And you see the many levels of meaning in that statement. So they would say that the study of Zen is like putting legs on a snake or a beard on a eunuch. It is somehow, we would say our metaphor is gilding the lily, is doing something unnecessary, and by doing it, making a mess of everything. Because, you know, lilies are not very happy when gilded. Snakes find legs inconvenient. So this is the humor in the whole thing, that when you catch yourself doing something such as looking all over the house for the spectacles you're wearing, there's nothing when you find out what you've done but to laugh. And so in the same way, when you are trying to get liberated, get yourself liberated from an ego which never existed in the first place. When you discover that that's the case, there's nothing for you to do but laugh at yourself.
Allow ourselves the idea that life is not serious, because somehow you feel if you aren't engaged in something serious, you're a loafer. You're not contributing to the social welfare. So in this way, the artist has a peculiar role in this society. Very, very interesting, because the artist is a very deceptive fellow. He appears to be the supreme luxury, the irrelevant fellow. You can afford an artist. You can afford to buy paintings if you have surplus money. That's a luxury. So you can support an artist, and we call it fine arts. The completely useless person who makes painting, which are sort of big labels or posters that you stick on your utilitarian walls to decorate them. But on the other hand, the artist is the man who shows you the future long before everybody else sees it. The artist is the eye-opener. Just because the artist is distinct in role from the preacher and the philosopher. So the role of the artist is very fascinating, because he appears to be the clown, the jester, the absolutely unimportant and irrelevant person. And yet it's actually through the artist that we learn how to live. Not through the preacher, not through the philosopher, not through the professor. It is the artist teaches us, whether he does it visually, in painting, or sculpture, tactually, or whether, above all, in music. You should read, if you can get hold of it, an interview with George Harrison, one of the Beatles, in a recent issue of the East Village Other, where he explains the deep philosophy of music that they understand and follow. How the very nature of sound reveals the meaning of the world, and why, because of this, he regards himself as a Hindu. In Hinduism, the fundamental source of life is called Vak. Vak in Sanskrit means the word, to speak, but not so much the word that communicates as the sound, the utterance, the flow of tone. So you have in India the use of mantra, the use of chanted words as one of the very basic forms of yoga, understanding the mystery of the world. The Hindus use the word Om, which would be spelled out A-U-M, because the letter A, Ah, is in the back of the throat. You push it through the vowel to Aum, is at the lips. So the word Om comprehends the whole range of sound. It's called the pranava. All sounds are basically the sound Om, but varied. The word that not only signifies, but also is what there is. Everything is Om. Om, sweet Om. The whole universe is Om. And it has no meaning, except it is the very pulse of life.